Hi, boys and girls. I'm glad you can join me today. Today we're starting Unit 6, and this is the first lesson in reading, and we're going to be focusing on folk tales, as you saw in the first few slides. So I just want to go over, here's a chart, actually from school. So this is the elements of folk tales. And just the little backgrounds. Folk tales are stories that are retold, kind of like storytelling. So stories that are passed down from one family or one generation to the next. Also, you're going to find out that stories are fiction. In our last unit, we talked all about nonfiction. So all these stories are fiction or they're fake, meaning not true. And the three elements we're really going to look closely at today are these. The stories have story elements, meaning they have characters, who is in the story, they have a setting, where the story takes place, a problem, what happens, something goes wrong, and finally a solution. How is that problem solved? The next thing we're going to look at is the characters are animals that act like humans. So, in a lot of the stories we're going to be reading, you're going to see that they are animals and they um, speak or they do things like humans. And the last one down at the bottom is teach a lesson or explain how something came to be. So, a lot of fables will either teach you something you'll learn from the story, or it'll explain how something happened to come about. Okay, so those three things are what we're going to be focusing on. They have the story elements, animals that act like humans, and teaching a lesson. So we're going to look at a book, and I'm going to just put this in present. So we're going to look at a story that perhaps is a folk tale. So we're going to find that out together. And as I said, this is the first lesson, so I want to make sure that. So our story is called The Lazy Grasshopper. It's summer and it's hot. The grasshopper sits in the shade and sings. What a beautiful day, says Grasshopper. There he is. What a beautiful day. Grasshopper sees an ant. She's carrying some food. What are you doing, ant? Says Grasshopper. I'm carrying my food to my home. I'm carrying food to my home, says ant. And there he is. What are you doing, ant? It's very hot, says Grasshopper. Come and sit down. Have a cold drink. No, thank you, says Ant. I'm working. I'm making food. Food store for the winter. Come and sit down. Winter? Grasshopper laughs. Don't think about winter. But Ant doesn't stop. All day, Ant works. She carries food to her store. Then she goes and gets some more. She's hot and tired, but she doesn't stop. Grasshopper sits in the shade. He sings and sleeps all day. Silly ant, he laughs. Don't think about your winter store. Look at me. When I'm hungry, I eat some berries or a nice leaf. All summer the ant works. Come and sit down, Grasshopper says to her every day. No, thank you, says Ant. I must make my winter store. He's saying, come and sit down. And she's saying, no, thank you. All summer, Grasshopper sits in the shade. He sings and sleeps, and he eats berries and leaves. It's autumn now, and it rains every day. Grasshopper sits in a tree. He sees Anne. She's carrying food. Come here, come and sit here with me, Grasshopper says. It's dry here. No, thank you, says Ant. I'm making a store for the winter. Winter, says Grasshopper. Don't think about the winter. But Anne doesn't stop. She works all day. She carries food to her store, and then she goes and gets some more. Silly ant, Grasshopper laughs. Don't think about your winter store. Look at me. When I'm hungry, I eat some berries or a nice leaf. All autumn, the ant works. Come and sit here with me, the grasshopper says to her every day. No, thank you, says Ant. I must make my winter store. He's saying, come and sit with me. Come sit here with me. I must make my winter stores, Ant is saying. All autumn, Grasshopper sits in the tree. It's dry here. There aren't many leaves and berries, but every day he finds one or two. It's cold now and the snow comes. Grasshopper sits under a rock. He sees Ant. She's carrying food. Come and sit here with me, Grasshopper says to Ant. It's warmer here. Saying it's warmer over here. Ant stops. No, thank you, she says. I'm going to my home. My store is full and now I can stay home all winter. Oh, says Grasshopper. So it's winter now. Yes, says Ant. Goodbye, Grasshopper. There she is saying goodbye to Grasshopper. Grasshopper sits under the rock. It's cold, very cold. There are no berries, and only one or two leaves. All day, Grasshopper sits under the rock. He's hungry and cold. Ant is my friend, he says. She has a big winter store. She can give me some food. And he goes to Ant's home. Ant is my friend. Ant's home is warm and there's lots of food. Hello, Ant, Grasshopper says. There are no berries now, but you have a big winter store. Please give me some food. I'm sorry, Grasshopper, says Ant. This is my winter store. I have to eat this food all winter. I can't give you any food. Goodbye. Here he's saying, please give me some food. And Ant saying, sorry, Grasshopper. Clever ant, Grasshopper says. She works all year and now she has lots of food. Look at me. I sing and I sleep all year. And now I'm hungry. Silly me, silly Grasshopper. And the Grasshopper walks home to his rock, cold and hungry. Silly me, silly Grasshopper. And that is the end of our story. So let me just click back. And I want you to think. So, as I said, we're looking at those three. So, did our story have the story elements? Did it have characters? Did it have a setting, problem, and solution? So, our characters, we have Ant and we have Grasshopper. The setting we have is outdoors or outside. The problem. The problem in the story is Grasshopper is not doing anything. He's being a lazy grasshopper. And our solution in the end, and Ant is working, doing all the work. And the solution in the end is that Ant has lots of food and Grasshopper doesn't have any. So we would need to think about what we can learn from that. Characters are animals that act like humans, and we did have that in our story. We had Grasshopper speaking and talking. I had Grasshopper and Ant talking and doing things like humans. And also at the bottom, we have teach a lesson or explain how something came to be. So I think we definitely can learn from the story that we need to work hard all the time and not just sit back and expect things to be done for us. So with those things, we can say that the ant and the grasshopper is definitely a fable. And in the next few slides, we're going to read another book together and decide if that is a fable as well. So thanks for joining me and hope to see you soon.